I said it before and I'll say it again. The liberal economic order was created after World War II, and the men who created that were crazy dudes smoking cigarettes on the cover of magazines after blowing up Japan. I have the Life magazine from the I think it was a general, what's his name? I forgot his name. Dropped the bombs and he's smoking the cigarettes literally just in the other room. These guys were crazy, and they created the liberal economic order. Then they had kids and told those kids, you have to maintain the liberal economic order around the world, and we will be the dominant superpower. And those kids went, you got it, Dad. Those kids grew up, inherited a system. They had no idea how it was built, but they could kind of maintain it. Then they had kids, and the grandkids of the liberal world order said, we have no idea how to run this. Everything we're doing is failing. That's it. What I think we're seeing now is, they say wealth lasts 3 generations.
Yeah, I was going to say,
the people who made the deep state, who made the liberal economic order, have long since passed, and their grandchildren, it's the 3rd generation. And that is lost on these kids. You know, they say wealth lasts 3 generations because a guy works hard, rolls up his sleeves, builds a business, figures it out, becomes rich, has a kid, teaches him the ropes. The kid sees it firsthand. Third hand, the grandkid doesn't quite understand how to run the machine. And so it eventually falls apart. They sell it off, and then the wealth kind of fizzles away. And that's what we're seeing now with the deep state. They don't know how to maintain it. So the only thing they can do is go on CNN and say, but she's a Russian. And nobody cares. You called Trump Hitler and nobody cared, and he won the popular vote.
Yeah, the name calling has become white noise, right? We've just gone ahead and embraced the labels because their whole agenda is if they can label you, they can categorize you. If they can categorize you, they can put you in a box, put you on a shelf. They don't have to deal with you because again, you're labeled. With Tulsi, I like new converts, right? I like people who are just on fire for whatever they've just discovered, whether it's faith or people who are newly rich. I mean, like they suddenly have discovered a whole new lifestyle. Tulsi to me is that. She's a convert, right? She came along and she's kind of like a homo coming out of the closet. I mean, she's excited right now, and I'm all for that. So I'm like, let's turn her loose and see. Are there things she said in the past that I don't necessarily trust? Yeah, of course. But I mean, nobody said anything that's perfect. But
she was being groomed to run the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
They viewed her as a darling. They were looking at her as the future of the party. She was the talent they needed. She is a woman of color, right? So the feminist intersectional movement, she was perfect.
Right.
But she backed Bernie Sanders in 2016, and rightly so. Now, I say at the time, rightly so. Bernie's turned out to be a major disappointment. But at the time, she was basically saying, you guys, this doesn't work. We got to go a different direction. We got to go a populist direction. Hillary Clinton got angry. They said to her, you're out, basically. So what happens? Well, she's now a Republican, and the Democrats have no backbench. Who do they got?
I have no idea.
Is there anybody that you can think of?
I think the person that they most likely will be going with, I'm not sure about AOC. The thing is, Congress people don't tend to get elected president. Though AOC, I do think that out of all of the people that could become a presidential candidate,
frightening,
it would be AOC. But Congress people don't tend to make it to the office of the president. I do think that it's frequently governors, and I do think that Gavin Newsom is extremely charismatic. Not that he has a good record to run on. I mean, he just his party got walloped in this past election, really, really, really bad.
I mean, but still, like we said, though, like it feels like they can just dump someone in. Right, a lot of time.
I think Josh Shapiro's another option. Yeah, in regards to that, who's again is another guy.
Did you hear that he rejected?
Yeah, okay. So that was the question I was gonna ask you one day. I was like, if Pennsylvania is as important as they say it is, how do you not choose Shapiro as your running mate?
He's Jewish.
No. The rumor is, the reporting came out, he rejected the offer.
Oh, really? Okay.
They went to him and said, we want you for VP, and he said, yeah, not interested.
That's the only thing I can think of, because it made no sense with Pennsylvania.
It just never made sense to me that Walz was the first pick.
Yeah.
I do think that if it was Josh Shapiro, I do think that she would have won, honestly. I think she would have taken Pennsylvania.
Yeah. I'm sure she would have.
Wow.
I mean,
they were going to win Minnesota anyway.
Well, but I think Trump still wins. He then wins with what?
Because he did
312. That's 19.
He got everything else. So
293.
But no, I mean, Shapiro, that's interesting. I didn't know that he had turned that down. But I just kept thinking the whole time there was no way that Fancy Pants was the first choice on a deal like that.
I do think that Gavin Newsom probably will be the direction that they go in the future. Like I said, they were able to drop in a candidate without even putting her through primaries and still come, they got walloped, but still they won all the states that they would normally win outside of the swing states. And they're going to bring in someone like Gavin Newsom. Even if they went with AOC, they can't really do that anymore because as she's become more more establishment. You know, she used to have a great grasp on social media and did really, really well at reaching younger people. And that doesn't feel the same anymore because she feels just like the rest of the swamp creatures anyways.
And I hope we don't forget how bad, in the next 4 years, I hope we don't forget how bad Gavin Newsom is. I mean, he is, you take the Biden administration with Kamala Harris, all the progressive wokeism, you multiply it exponentially. He is a disciple of Xi Jinping. And I hope that doesn't get lost. We have got to overwhelmingly change people's hearts and minds with, money in your pocket, freedom, liberty, the ability to speak, removing some of the crazy algorithms that are out there that are censoring people. And so that people say, oh, this is what freedom tastes like. And somebody, Sarah Gonzalez, she messaged me the other day. She said, historically, have we ever seen this many things happen just in the days following an election? I said, well, you could argue that when Reagan beat Carter, the Iran hostages were released, various things happened. I said, but it's like the world was stuck underwater, gasping for air, and now it automatically started correcting because finally there was oxygen to breathe again.
Let's just pause and think about AG nomination, Matt Gaetz' AG nomination, Tulsi Gabbard, Pete Hegseth. Let's just pause there and go back to when we were talking about how many historically unprecedented things have we experienced in the past year.
Yeah.
It's exponentially increasing.
Yeah.
So in a good way so far. I hope it remains in a good way, but I got to tell you this. With this appointment of Tulsi Gabbard, oh boy, Matt Gaetz, as much as this is probably the most hilarious thing I've heard in politics in a long time and a dream scenario, I do not see how the deep state will allow these confirmations. And I know we talked about racist appointments. Well, I certainly hope Trump's got legit security because the threats against him are real, both from these crackpots who went after him a couple times already. The Iranian teams I genuinely believe exist. There's a lot of people who are like, no, it's the deep state. I'm like, dude, he killed Soleimani. And Iran expressly stated they're coming for him. So sure, you can argue it's a cover or whatever, but I do think Iran wants to get Trump as well, especially before he becomes president and then puts the boot down on these other countries.
Well,
this is the most important time. Trump needs quadruple the security. He must get to Inauguration Day, and then he must get these confirmations through.
I know that the Secret Service had less than perfect or less than maximum security on Donald Trump when he was running, but now that he's president-elect, if I understand correctly, and I'm not a Secret Service expert, but if I understand correctly, the president-elect gets the same security that the actual president does. So hopefully he's treated as the actual president. But when he gets into office, he needs to do a thorough cleaning of Secret Service as well.
Well, the question is he actually president-elect? So formally, I believe it's when the vote is counted on January 6th. Right now, it's just we call him president-elect because we've decided based on media reports that he's won. Actual president-elect, I believe, is when January 6th comes around and Congress says the electoral votes are for President Donald Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance. And then he's got 14 days or whatever between president-elect and president. Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.